Another blood-red sunset and yet another moon face, and still another 100 miles to my next resting place. Driving down the road, eyes on the horizon. Within my car, I'm all alone, but feeling good and feeling strong, knowing that this path I'm on brings me to myself. I'm driving.
Hello, and welcome to Spirit Sherpa, the show that helps and encourages you on your journey to unlock your magic mojo. I'm Jules, your co-host. If you're new to this type of work, please start with episode 1. If you're an intermediate, please start with episode 98. And if you're advanced, fast forward to episode 200. With me, as always, to share her insights and her wisdom is the spirit doctor herself, Kelly Sparta. Hi, Kelly. Hello. How are we doing today?
Oh, I'm tired.
You're tired? You posted the funniest TikTok yesterday. Oh, my God. Now, I know we're recording, when this comes out, it's going to be like February the 11th. So y'all going to have to back up to, January.
Yeah,
but
January
y'all go look on
is when it came out.
Yes.
So.
Okay. January 24th. Y'all go look on her TikTok, or I don't know if it keeps it or whatever, but
I put it on Facebook too. So
this was the funniest flipping thing. She goes to sleep. She wakes up from what's supposed to be a nap. Her husband wakes her up because she's been sleeping for like 2 hours straight. And she's like, what do you mean it's 8 o'clock? It can't be 8 o'clock. There's no sunlight. Then she sends me a text meaning it to go to her assistant. And I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. She's like, oh, my bad. That's supposed to go to Heather instead, not you. I'm like, thank God, because it was not going to get done. So that was the funniest thing you put out.
And then I sent her the TikTok as an exam to explain to her why she got that weird message. I'm like, brain no worky.
No. So you laid down, y'all, this is how tired this woman is, right? She laid down at 5 p.m, woke up at 7-ish or 8. Okay.
He told me it was 2 hours, but it was 3.
It's a 3-hour nap. A 3-hour nap.
Which is why I was waking up going, oh no, it's morning, right? If you're waking me up and saying it's 8 o'clock, it's supposed to be morning. It can't possibly be 8 o'clock. There's no sunlight. The sun comes up here at 6:30 every morning. Why are you waking me up and telling me it's 8 a.m.? And he's like, no, it's 8 p.m., honey. And I'm like, why are you waking me up at 8 p.m.? I was so confused.
See, he missed the perfect opportunity to, please tell him I said this. He missed a perfect opportunity to go, honey, we jump dimensions and just totally fuck with you. We're in the Oracle Blue realm of Nimrod. I don't even know what that was, but
Nimrod. Oh my God, that would have been so bad. That would have been so bad. Oh my God. Thankfully, my husband is much more compassionate than you are. I'll remember that when you and I are finally in physical space together. Exactly. I'll be like, hey, if something ain't right, Jules probably fucking with me. Yeah.
Or if there's no sunlight. No, honey. Baby, it's 8 o'clock the next day. You slept an entire day. Wait, what? And then what? You do the freak out.
He should have just let me sleep, except that I still have my contacts in, so he couldn't do that.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was not good. I was very disoriented.
And this is coming from me, who I have slept 22 hours straight.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
I didn't have a reason to sleep 22 hours, but I think I probably could have yesterday because I was only up for another 3 hours after that, and then went back to sleep, and then woke up like 9 hours later and was still tired. So I was like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not like I've been pushing too hard. I really haven't. It's just, I was just toast. I was like, the quarterback is toast. Yeah, I'm just done. And for those who didn't get that, that is a Die Hard reference. Thank you very much. Okay.
Which leads in a perfect, segue into what we're talking about today on this I'm so flippin' exhausted day, because we're talking about what, kids? Motivation.
How do you get it and keep it? Well, there we go. We've got this thing. And, we're right now when we're recording this is the full moon in Leo, which you're supposed to be setting your intentions for the coming year. And I'm like, my intention is to sleep. That's what I got, right? Yeah.
Instead of roar, we're more like, meow.
Be like, yeah.
The lion got his belly full and went to sleep. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. It's like that. So yeah, full belly, sleeping lion. That sounds awesome to me right now. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Let's talk about full belly and going to sleep.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So let's get into the topic because, this is one of those things that is a double-edged sword. Okay. Nice hair. Okay.
Well, it's so long right now, and it's just wanting to stick up. I mean, it normally sticks up, but it's just ridiculous right now.
I'm like, it's just sticking up because it sticks up. You train it to do that shit, man.
Yes, I do.
Why are you complaining about it? I don't understand.
Because I'm like the Fonz. It's like there's hair number 452 is out of place.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll shut up now.
3/4 of our audience did not get that reference at all, but I did.
Y'all need to go watch Happy Days.
Yeah. Just, yeah. So, okay, now I got to say it. So fun fact is that there is a phrase in syndication TV or in, what do they call that? The serial TV, I don't know, whatever. There is a phrase in the TV world that when you go off the rails with a show, they call it jumping the shark. And they call it that because of the Happy Days episode where Fonzie was on water skis and jumped over a shark.
And jumped the shark. Yes.
Right. They call it jumping the shark.
Jumping the shark. I love it.
Yeah. And so that episode became iconic in the world. And what's really funny is if you're a Supernatural fan, they actually did an episode of Supernatural that was called Jump the Shark or Jumping the Shark, something like that. And it was the episode where they went to the convention that was all about them, and they met the guy who was writing the book about them, and they interacted with people who were playing them. And
that's fun.
It was very self-referential, and the guy turned out to be a prophet, and it was very, very funny, but it was so self-referential, and the whole show has become camp in the years like 10 on. But yeah, it was hysterical. The moment I saw the title, I started laughing. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is going to be good, right? Because I understood the reference. So now you guys are now educated, and there you go. So let's talk about motivation. How do you get and keep it? So the first thing I'm going to say is that if you're motivated or if you're burned out, you're not going to be motivated, and you shouldn't make the goal motivation. Okay, because the people you hear talking about needing motivation the most are the ones who are crispy crittered the most. They're just fried. And they're like, I need motivation to do this. No, you need to lay your ass down and be broccoli. Vegetate on the ground until you have energy. And then vegetate some more until you feel inspired. And then vegetate some more until you feel both inspired and you have energy. And then you will be motivated. Okay. We spend so much of our lives pushing through the overwhelm, the exhaustion, I don't want to, the blah, we push through. And if you are in the energy of pushing, you are not doing it right. If you're pushing, you are fried or on the edge of fried. Most likely you're probably crispy because, this takes practice. And so, I remember, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but it's critical factor right now, which is 20 some years ago. I went to the doctor and I told her what my year had been like. And she said, oh my God, if I could write you a 1 month prescription to Canyon Ranch, which is a very high end, spa and resort retreat space, right? She said, if I could write you a 1 month prescription for it, I would right now. And I just looked at her like she had lost her fucking mind. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. This is my life. My life is always like this. And she's like, 2 months. And I was like, what? And I literally told her she was crazy because this is just how my life is and I'm used to it and it's fine. I had no idea how fried I was. No clue, because I had no point of reference for being unfried.
Well, because we're control freaks. We are not going to allow someone else to take over our fryingness. I'm going to crispy fry myself.
It's not even that. I literally didn't know what I would do with myself if I wasn't doing that. Right. I was like, what are you talking about? Right now, ironically, this was like 2001. Okay. Ironically, a few months later, Spirit sent me on Walkabout, where the first part of Walkabout was a month of me doing nothing. I literally did nothing.
Universe goes, hold up, I got a prescription pad.
That's right. They're like, hold my beer, we'll make it work. So I spent a month
I
doing
see
nothing.
what you're doing, doctor.
Yeah. And then I spent the next year on Walkabout, living in other people's houses and traveling and whatever, but not actually working. I wasn't working at all. I was living on $350 a month of unemployment insurance and the kindness of strangers. And that was it. I was not working. So I took an entire freaking year off, right? But I was fine, right? It took me a month. That first month, the entire month, I would every 30 to 50 seconds, I would go, I should be. And I didn't know what I should be doing, but my whole body was like, I should be doing something. And I kept going, nope, I don't have anything to do. I don't know what I'm getting all excited about, right? I had been working for a company that closed down, which is how I got the unemployment insurance. And I didn't have anything else to do. And I knew that I was going to this festival shortly thereafter. And so I wasn't doing anything on purpose because there was no point in getting a new job when I was going to go to this festival for a week. And I felt really clear that I wasn't coming back. And so, after the festival, and I was like, okay, so there was no point in going and getting another job because I was just going to leave. And I had a part-time gig for a medium at the time. And so, I worked for him every now and again and I got a little extra cash that way and whatever. But I was constantly like, I should be. My nervous system was on such overload from the previous years that
That's what
I
you're
could
used
not.
to.
Yeah. I burned out in 93 when I was selling real estate in 93, 94. And I never recovered from it. And until, 10 years later, I'm on a Walkabout in 2002. So 9 years later, whatever. And so, I just didn't have a point of reference for not being burned out. And so, So if you're unmotivated, the first question you need to ask yourself is, are you fried? Right? Because you may not know it. Lord knows I didn't. If every time you lie down, you go, I should be, you're probably fried. Okay.
Now, did you have other people other than the doctor who told you take off a month or two and all that? Did you have like close friends, family, whatever, telling you, dude, you're kind of burnt out right now? Did any observations that you were like, poo-poo is fine?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. I asked that because Mitch is very good about, he's like, you're, I can tell. I'm like, you can tell what? He's like, you're doing too much. You're burnt out. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, your patience is non-existent right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a check. I was like, yeah, you're right. I hate it when he's right, but yeah, you're right.
I know that
oh my God. Let alone we go to the psychic lady who or medium lady who talks to dead people, right? Gives him a reading and she's like, yeah, looks at me. He's like, he's really in tune. He's usually not wrong. And I'm like, you had to say that out loud in front of him. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, but yeah, I was wondering if, other listeners, if they have people, saying, you look tired, or are you okay? You looked a little stressed, or, ooh, where's that energy coming from? That's that energy
Yeah. The only time
exude.
I can remember having that sort of feedback specifically from friends was when I was 19 and I accidentally ended up running a payroll company that a friend of mine owned when she was on an early version of Prozac and lost her mind and disappeared and abandoned me to be running the company. And the woman who was my assistant was 35 and I was 19. And so I would be going about my day and she would look at me and say, would you like a cup of tea? And that became her code for you're being a raving lunatic bitch. Why don't you sit down and have a cup of tea in the corner and stop bothering me? Right? It was like, and I started to recognize that was the case. And I would say, Mary, do I need a cup of tea? And she's like, yeah, you really need a cup of tea. And I'm like, okay, I will take a cup of tea and I will go behave myself in the corner for a bit. She's like, oh, nice. Okay, good. She would bring me a cup of tea and banish me to my office, right? I was just like, but
That is a true friend that will do that and not tell you what you want to hear, but will tell you the truth. We all need friends like that.
we were not friends. She was managing me. She was managing up and she was doing it effectively. So, but yeah, we were not friends, but she was very good at managing me. So, but yeah, that's the only time I can think of where somebody looked at me and said, you're fried, right? At the time that all of this stuff was happening, I was living in the magical house, and pretty much everybody in the magical house had their own issues around this sort of stuff. They were all overachievers. One of them was a former special forces guy. So, he's not going to look at me and say, you're burned out. I mean, you don't do that in the special forces. You just power through and get out the other side, because it's often life or death. Right. So, yeah. So no, nobody said that to me. But my doctor was like, I was like, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. You're just pansy. You don't know what you're talking about.
But I need big girl panties.
No, I was having it to my warrior self, right? There's a reason I took the name Sparta when I got divorced in 98. It's like I was heavily into my warrior self. And I'm like, nah, I can do it. I'm good. Yeah. These are not kind things that we do to ourselves, right? So if you're not motivated, check your burnout quotient. Let's talk about that's step one. Step two, if you're not motivated, check why you're not motivated. Is this actually your goal or someone else's goal? Because if it's not your goal, you're not going to be motivated. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be, if you're not actually participating in the goal, then you're probably not going to be motivated to complete it. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, do I have buy-in on this goal? And if you don't, then why are you involved? Okay. And if you need to be involved, like your partner is super engaged in this and requires you to do this one small piece in order for them to have their bigger piece, and you're doing this for them out of love, then you will tap into your love for your partner as your motivation, not your desire to do the thing. Okay? Because that's what you're invested in, is your love for your partner and your desire to support your partner. And so you invest in your desire to support your partner, not in the activity that you are not invested in. That's how you get the motivation there, right? And if you're not engaged, if you're not excited, then don't freaking do it, right?
And yeah, that energy, as far as the love for your partner, very different energy than I am expected to do blah. Or let's just pretend mom and dad want me to be a doctor. I have no motivation to go be a doctor. I want to be a professional singer. I'm making it up, but or whatever, or an accountant, God forbid, And so, it's like, what are you going to be? What are you going to do? Go work for the IRS? No, you're going to be a doctor. No, I have no motivation to do that. So that kind of goes into another topic that we've also talked about, which is, do we live by our rules and our definitions of things, or someone else's definition of who, what, when, where we should be.
Correct. And then the third piece is if you do want the thing and it's for you, the other piece that happens to get in the way of motivation is that we will often, we're at the bottom of our own priority list, right? If you're at the bottom of your own priority list and that means there's always somebody else ahead of you. There's always something else that's more important or someone else who needs something more or whatever. And if you remain at the bottom of your own priority list, you will never have the motivation to do the thing that you really want to do because you get all the leftovers and there are never freaking leftovers, right? And so the piece of the puzzle there is not about, it's not about motivation, it's about priority. And so when you reverse your priority list and you make yourself first and you do the things important to you first and then do for others out of your leftovers, then you find the motivation to do the things you want to do because you haven't hit the end of your day or the end of your work day or, the end of whatever, and you have no energy left. And this is the other piece is that I often see people put 100% of effort into their jobs, but you're awake for 16 hours a day and you work for 8. That means 50% of your effort should go towards your job. And the other 50% of your effort is for your life, right? And if you're spending 100% of your effort on your job, you got nothing left for your life, okay? So big surprise, you're not motivated, right? So you it's energy management in that scenario, right? We call a lot of things motivation that aren't motivation, right? Motivation is desire. If you have the desire for something, then you will pursue it in the absence of things that suck all your life out of your beingness, right? In the absence of things that are pulling your energy. The exception to that is if you don't know how to do it, in which case there is some of us have learned helplessness around not knowing how. And
what do you mean by that?
So if every time you tried to do something as a child, you got chastised for doing it wrong, you will learn not to try. And so that becomes learned helplessness. Then you just do what you're told and you just respond, to whatever you're told to do. And you do nothing more or less than what you're told. That is learned helplessness. And that can actually impact you later in life because now you're just doing what you're told. Well, what if you want to do something for yourself and nobody's there to tell you what to do? Now you don't know how to do it because you've had the problem-solving, experimental, creative part of your being beaten out of you early in life. And so now you have to re-engage and learn how to do that again. Right?
Would that be the same type of thing, little different scenario, if you had someone say like helicopter mom or whatever, like that's always doing stuff for you. So you don't learn, literally, you're never given the opportunity to do anything for yourself, to think for yourself, to problem solve for yourself.
Correct. Both of those scenarios end up with the same result. And so, and if you're in burnout or if you've just given away all your energy for the day, you will end up in a place where you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. I want this, but I don't know how to do it. And then your goals become dreams. And dreams are, it would be nice if. Wouldn't it be great if? If you say those words, that whatever comes after if is never fucking going to happen. Okay? That is the definition of it'll never happen. Wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if I won the lottery? Right? That's the sort of thing, right? It's like nobody expects it to actually happen, right? And that's what happens is you relegate it to a dream instead of a goal. And therefore you don't put any effort into it because it's just a dream. It's not a goal. A lot of times it's about making it real. So for a long time, I wanted to travel internationally. And I had this vision in college, I wanted to go for a gap year and hike, backpack across Europe. That's what I wanted to do in between high school and college. And I didn't. And I went to college because mom said that her whole life was dependent upon seeing me graduate from college. And so it was either go to college or invalidate my mother's existence. And so I went to college because I was a good daughter. And I spent the entirety of my freshman year of college being miserable and unhappy because I wanted to be backpacking Europe. And I spent a lot of time in one of my professor's office hours whining about it. He was a very kind man. In my head, all of that whining built up to I don't have permission to go to Europe, even though I wanted to go. And it wasn't until my husband, when I got married, when I was 21, my husband had been to Europe many times. And he's like, let's go to Europe for our honeymoon. And I was like, that's allowed, right? In my head, it was like, it's allowed? Yeah, I want to go to Europe. I've always wanted to go to Europe. I want to do that. But I was terrified because it wasn't allowed, right? But he made it happen, and I went along for the ride. And it still took me 2 or 3 more trips around different places that I went for me to get over the idea that I wasn't allowed to travel the way I wanted to.
Yeah,
right?
allowed,
right? Yeah. Despite the fact that it was my choice that I made, that I did, it didn't matter, right? So the upshot, though, is that sometimes we put things in our own way, right? And so, and then the other piece is that sometimes we don't think that there's a possibility to be able to change it. We don't even conceive of the possibility of changing. We're so used to just accepting what we get, which is usually scraps, that we don't say this isn't, we may say I'm not happy, but we won't do anything to change it because we don't conceive of the idea that it's changeable. Because we've always gotten scraps, we'll always get scraps, right?
And you're being selfish.
Right, if you want anything. Yeah, being selfish if you want anything. By the way, if anybody who says that you're selfish if you want anything is manipulating you and trying to steal your power. So tell them to fuck off. Yeah. I had a conversation with some people yesterday who said that about the Mormon church. So they were like, yeah, you're not allowed to want anything. They said that they weren't allowed to want anything in the church and that if they did, that they were bad. So they were both from the Mormon church. I don't know, but that was their experience. So, hi guys, because I know they listen. So, but this is, it can.
I didn't know that. I learned something new.
Well, I mean, I've heard Christians say that too. It's like, oh, you should be doing for others. It's better to give than to receive. It's sort of inherent in a lot of religions, right? And different churches approach it differently. Some churches are harder core about it, and some are lesser hardcore about it. This is why we have so many different denominations of different things. But it's better to give than to receive is the equivalent of you shouldn't want anything for yourself, right? It is the exact same thing, right? So, there's a lot of religious trauma around it. So, but the point being that sometimes you got to give yourself permission to have what it is that you want and to fight for it, right? Because you can't give up just because something got hard. Right. And this is the other piece that I see, especially when people are becoming spiritual practitioners, right? Is that they'll put together whatever it is they want to offer, and then they'll put it out in the world. They'll give it a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks to be successful, wildly successful. And if it isn't, then they go, oh, the universe I'm going in the wrong direction. The universe isn't supporting me. Therefore, this isn't the right thing to do. And it's like, no, the universe wants what you want. You didn't give it enough time. You had this fantasy notion that it would be wildly successful if the universe was supportive of it. And if it wasn't, then this isn't meant to be. It's like, no, that's not how this works, right? You have to be committed to a path, and then the universe will support your commitment. But if you are throwing something out over here and throwing something out over there and throwing something out over here and doing that over there and never continuing in the same direction for very long, the universe is just going to go, I'll be over here. You let me know when you decide.
Well, I just want to see what sticks.
Right. But the problem is that the universe is going in all the directions, and therefore all of your energy is frittered in all the directions. And therefore you get small results in one direction because 90% of your energy is going in different directions.
Rather than laser focused and becoming clear. I remember that's some
Commitment.
and in manifesting, if I remember correctly, it be very clear about what you want, for you will surely get it.
But you got to commit. And that's the thing. Is that people are like, they kind of just like, well, kind of sort of, is it okay if I have this? Maybe, right? That energy is not going to pull you anything. It's going to be like, not if you're like that about it. Like, are you committed to it or not? Because it's your energy that's used in the manifestation. You are the magic. If you're unclear or uncommitted or unfocused, the magic will be unclear, uncommitted, and unfocused.
Yeah, that won't be good.
No, you are the magic. So, this is why we do our personal growth work, to learn how to expand our energetic work, because our beliefs and our assumptions and our fears and our worries and our doubts and our self-doubts and our inner and outer judgments and all this crap gets in the way. And then you're like, well, why doesn't my magic work? It's like, well, your magic doesn't work because your belief system, you are the magic, and you are all bound up inside of yourself with your mental belief structures. And
don't matter how many crystals you have, honey.
That's right. If you are tied in knots inside, the energy doesn't move. That's how that works. So this is the sort of thing that we're talking about. And this is one of the reasons why we do the Welcome to the Woo program, right? It helps to unknot the energy so that you have the ability to do that.
I like that. Have yourself tied in knots. Come to the Welcome to the Woo. We have punch.
And cookies. Yes.
And cookies. Come unknot yourself.
Come unknot yourself. Yes.
Yes.
So, but I mean, that's effectively what it is that we're doing, right? Is, you have to shift your perspective. You have to change the way you see yourself, which shifts your identity, which shifts the way you receive things, which opens up the energy. That's how that works. The energy opens when you get unknotted inside. And so this is why we do the two together. This is why we teach you energetics while we do personal growth work with you, because that's how it works. The less of you that's knotted, the more energy you run. So, there's a reason why I can sit here and go woof with energy, because I've spent 20 years unknotting myself, right? Like 25 years. I'm getting old. But yeah, there's a reason, because I've worked my butt off to pull the knots out. Now, is it going to take you 25 years? No, I did the work for you. I shortened the distance. So you can do it faster, a lot faster than me. Thank God, because that took forever. But, this is how it works, right? And then you learn how to do the work. So, understanding the concepts and unknotting your insides, put that together, and you are a force to be reckoned with, right? We love being a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, hell yeah. We're control freaks. Of course we are.
Watch me, baby. Watch me go. I got shit to do, right?
I got shit. I'm going to manifest this and this and this.
That's right. And be motivated, clear your blocks, and run a bunch of energy. There's a great way to be motivated, right?
And I'm going to say, bitch, be gone to all y'all. Psst, 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 psst. Don't have time for the drama.
Yeah, we were talking about, before we got on the call here, we were talking about, you were looking at me going, you're tired, and we're doing a thing on motivation. How are you going to be motivated? And I'm like, I'm just going to channel the energy. It'll be fine. I'm not tired right now. Why? Because I'm in it, right? I'm in it. So this is the other piece of motivation, is just committing. And I didn't come in going, oh, I can't do it. I'm too tired. I can't. I just, I came in and went, yep, I'm tired. So I'm going to acknowledge where I am. And then I'm going to be with where I'm committed to going, which is I'm committed to putting out this podcast every week. And so, I put on my big girl panties and I channeled the energy, right? And I'm not pushing. I want to be clear. I'm not pushing right now. I'm tired. But I'm not pushing through the tired. I'm channeling the energy that I need to get through this. And then I'm going to go take care of myself. This is the end of my day, and I'm going to go lay down and have a break and, take the night off. I'm not going to push through.
What's the difference between pushing through? What would be you pushing through versus how you acted or how you reacted today and was with the podcast?
If I was pushing through, I would be like, oh, it sucks and I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm just going to do it. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to push my needs down and ignore them. And I'm going to pull all the extra energy up from my beingness. And I'm going to just power through regardless of how unhappy I am. Okay. That's pushing.
Your tone changed. I can hear it. Can y'all hear that? I swear to God, I can hear it in her. Y'all know what you sound like. And it's very authoritative instead of like, hey,
because you are getting authoritative with yourself. Exactly. You're like looking at your inner child who is whining for a nap and saying, no, you don't get a nap, right? There will be no naps. We are going to do this. I don't care if you don't like it. That is the inner dynamic of push.
I'm laughing because that's me. Not all the time. Used to be much worse. And, I caught myself doing it today. Literally, I have like 20 projects. There's only one of me. And I'm like, hold up. Y'all. Okay. The other thing y'all need to research is those old school, like take a number things, right? That's like in Beetlejuice, whenever he's like, and it comes up like serving number 4 and he's like 50,245, right? I'm like, y'all, I'm going to put one of these things outside my office. And so I got to a point, I'm like, no, I am out of whack. I am taking 30 freaking minutes and I'm just woo-sighing and we just whoaing. Now, stop it. And I told myself, I'm like, stop, refocus, just take 30 minutes and just stop. You're not doing this. Mm-mm. And I was literally getting, and I feel it in my shoulders, like, and my body was like, because I was trying to hold on and power through. And now it's like, okay, breathe.
Yeah.
So
and that's the energy, right? When you are getting strict and authoritative with your inner child, then you are in push. What I did today was I acknowledged I'm tired and I'm going to show up because this is important to me, but I'm not going to be abusive to myself. I'm just going to show up where I am and I'm going to bring the energy through that I need to bring through. But I'm not pulling it from my reserves. I'm channeling it from spirit.
Right, because that affects your life force, right?
Correct. I'm not pulling it up from my reserves, and I'm not being abusive to myself. Because if my inner child had been like, no, I really don't want to do this, we would have rescheduled. I would have rescheduled. I'm just tired today. And I've been tired most of the day. And I had things to do, and that was okay. I was acknowledging that I'm tired, and every time I didn't have something to do, I did nothing because I was being kind to myself. And if I had needed to do less, I would have canceled things. And I have ultimate permission in my world to cancel anything I need to cancel in my calendar. And that keeps me from being self-abusive. I had to give myself permission to do that. My integrity wouldn't let me do that for a lot of years. And be like, no, I can't cancel on them. What I have discovered is every single time I have canceled something because I was honoring my own energy levels, the person on the other end was like, oh, absolutely, no problem. Or, oh my God, thank God, because I really needed to not do this too, right? Every time. I have never had anybody be pissed off. Right, we've done that, right?
We've done that. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because I got nothing today. So...
Yeah. And that happens, right? So, it's about giving yourself permission to cancel if you need to, right? Yeah. So, a lot of motivation, we think of motivation as being, the desire to do something. But the vast majority of motivation is self-care. When you take good care of yourself, you will find yourself more motivated to do things. And when you put yourself first, you will find that you have the energy to do things. So that's the short and the long of it. And that's my Kellyism for the day.
That's a very good Kellyism. I actually thought I was going to say, actually thought you were going to say lay like broccoli, but that's okay.
But that's only for burnout. It doesn't apply for the whole thing.
Right? That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah. One thing before we finish up is that I realized that I've been teasing saying, oh, well, September, October, we're going to do the retreat. No, December, we're going to do the retreat. Well, I looked at the calendar actually, finally, and the retreat is not happening in December because Thanksgiving's the last weekend in November, and that it just doesn't leave enough time for in between space between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we're going to do the, what did I say, the 9th or the 8th? The 8th to the 14th is that right? Of November. Yeah. So we're going to do the 8th to the 14th of November is the plan. I have not confirmed that with the venue yet, but that's currently the plan on my books. But the venue said if I book even 2 months in advance, they said that would be fine. So the 8th to the 14th of November is the plan for the Adventures in Energetics retreat for beyond beginner level energy workers. And so we will be custom designing the vast majority of the retreat around the attendees. And there will definitely be a Kundalini awakening. There will definitely be a sound healing. There will definitely be group work. We're going to sing up the sun every morning, and we're going to do presence practice. And we're also going to do some not running around, but we're going to explore.
Running around naked around a campfire?
No, they won't let me have a campfire. It's very sad. But no, there's we are going to do a tour, and there's hanging bridges and zip lines and all sorts of fun stuff and places to hike and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to hit the Indigenous market and the Tuesday market and, see stuff. Right. So, that'll be good. And if you get all excited and you want to take a little extra time, you're going to have to fly through Panama City to get there. So there is a howler monkey tour there in Panama City. If you decide you want to come early, you could do that on your own. And there's also touring the Panama Canal, if that's exciting to you. And the beach. There's the beach. We will not be doing beach in the retreat because we're up in the mountains. So you could hit the beach on the way in or the way home, depending on however you want to do it, because you got to go through Panama City and there's beach. So, so it's going to be kick-ass, rockin' awesome. Everybody I've been talking to is like, I want to go to that. I want to go to that. So depending on what happens when I open up registration, I only have 16 beds to sell. So depending on what happens when I open registration, I may end up having to do another one.
Well, and that's really interesting because for this type of work, like going through Woo You and I'm sorry, Welcome to the Woo second
Square.
one. Woo Square, geez. Sorry. And then Woo You, all the different courses. It's been very intimate. So I see this as totally Kelly, just totally very small, intimate groups. And it's not a big, 200-300 people because why? You get lost in it. It's a very different energy.
Yeah. I'm not interested in doing that. Yeah. I want to work with people, and there's going to be a fair amount of empty space so that people can get to know each other. And so there can be some chill time and I'm going to be on site the whole time. So, if you want to bend my ear and ask me some questions or ask for personal instruction on X, Y, or Z during the off time, I'm happy to do that. I'm there. So, there's a lot of opportunity for, individualized attention when you're in that small of a group. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. And I'll be designing the rest of it around what people's experience is, what the experience level of the people who are coming is and what their interests are. So there'll be a questionnaire when you come in that'll ask you about your experience level and what you've learned to do and what you don't know how to do and what you want to learn how to do. And I will base the remainder of the plan on people's answers. So you'll have a chance to influence what we're doing, which is also cool, right?
So if they're interested, and I know the registration is not open for it yet, but if they're interested, they can email you at Kelly at Kelly Spada. Kelly Spada.
Yeah, Kelly Spada. You sound like you're in Boston.
Why am I from Boston all of a sudden?
I don't know, but you're channeling my hometown, man. Stop it. But yeah, you can email me at kelly@kellysparta.com, or you can just go on the website and join the mailing list, and the people on the mailing list will get the first notice. And if you're thinking about joining one of the programs, joining sooner than later gets you first dibs on the spaces that we have in the retreat. So, I won't book a second one unless there is an overwhelming amount of people who want to come to the first one. So, there's no guarantee that there will be a second one, once we start taking registrations. People say they want to come, but when you say, okay, it's time for registrations, we don't know who's actually going to, put their money where their mouth is, sort of thing. So, getting first dibs is always a good choice. So, those who are in program with me, if they're in one of my programs, any of my programs, they get first dibs on the retreat. And then the mailing list will get the next list, and then the podcast, and then the public, if we ever get there. I don't think we're going to get there. I think we'll have enough going through the people that we've got.
Going through the people, yeah.
Yeah.
And then all the little details as far as like, here's where we're going to stay, and, the cost and the plane rides and all that.
Yeah,
we'll be coming
staying
later.
at Tree Trek, which is a retreat center in Panama, in Boquete, Panama. And I'll have the pricing. I haven't got quotes for that yet. So, but I'll have that coming up soon. But it's going to be really, for a 7-day, 6-night retreat in Panama, it's not going to be expensive comparatively to what you would expect to pay. So it's not going to be terrible.
Yeah. Oh, and people would have to have a passport, correct?
Absolutely must have a passport, and it has to have over 6 months left on it, because no airline will let you fly on a passport that has less than 6 months left to its expiration. So if your passport is going to expire within 6 months of your leave or return date, they will not let you fly on it. So you need to update your passport. Yeah. There's no need to get vaccinations. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I don't know what the COVID rules are right now, so I don't know if there's vaccination requirements there, but no other vaccinations are required for flying, and you don't even have to get a visa if you're coming in from the U.S. I think you don't have to do it in Canada if you're Canadian either. No need to get a visa. You automatically walk in the door with a 6-month visa as an American. So they don't require you to apply for it.
Okay. But passport, yes. Visa,
passport,
no.
Yes. Visa, no. Yeah. Yeah. So all sorts of fun stuff, right? And just know that passports can take a while. They typically take between 3 and 4 months to get or 3 and 4 weeks usually to get your passport. And there may be a backlog because they were backlogged for a while. So, now would be the time to renew your visa, or your passport rather, if you aren't going to need it at that point. So, so fun till my daddy takes my T-bird away, and I don't have one, and he won't do it. So it's fine. So my dad's dead. He can't take my T-bird away.
No, he can't. He can't. Not in this lifetime.
That would be hard. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. It's all good.
All right.
Weird note to end the podcast on, but there we go.
It's okay.
Fuck it. It's fine.
Fuck it, it's fine.
Fuck it, it's fine. Yeah. Join the Facebook group too. That'll be announced there. It'll be announced in the Facebook group same time as the podcast. So, but the podcast is we record it like a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance. So the Facebook group will get it faster, even if we do it at the same time. So,
well, that's all that we have time for this week, folks. Tune in next time when Kelly adds another chapter into your guide to energy, magic, and the spirit world. I'm Jules, here with Kelly Sparta, and you have been listening to Spirit Sherpa. So long, y'all.
Bye.
Driving down the road, eyes on the horizon. Within my car, I'm all alone, but feeling good and feeling strong, knowing that this path I'm on brings me to myself. I'm driving, wondering where my spirit will. I'm driving.